Hello and welcome back to the channel Dog Army. My name is Taha Abbasi. I am a blockchain enthusiast and an evangelist, a member of the Dog Army, and in this video I want to cover some key points. If you are a member of the Dog Army and the Dog Movement, which is the largest token on the Bitcoin chain, this video is designed for you, especially as we've been on a mission to get listed on tier 1 centralized exchanges. So one of the things that I want to highlight is the approaches that we can utilize to increase the chances of those listings. We're going to be covering are listings on centralized exchanges possible without paying a listing fee? What approach should the Dog Army use, in my opinion, in order to give us the best chance of those listings? And then also some action items and tools and resources that I can share with you, which will help us engage with these centralized exchanges on X and other platforms in order to get their eyes on our mission. So without any further ado, let's get started with the first topic, which covers are exchanges, are tier 1 exchange listings even possible without paying the listing fee? All right, so tier 1 exchange listings is a milestone that the Dog Army with its free and fair movement has been trying to accomplish for 9 months now since its launch. In that time, the Dog Army has grown to over 100,000 holders on chain and has done consistently well over $150 million in volume, and some days with over 100 million on a pretty regular basis. The average volume doesn't tend to fall below about 30 to 40 million across centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, which is a remarkable feat considering the difficulty that users continue to face on the Bitcoin ecosystem compared to other ecosystems. While the Bitcoin ecosystem is evolving and improving, even with these difficult trading conditions that tend to be a bit more friction heavy compared to other ecosystems, the volume continues to be very exciting and very healthy to look at. So now that we understand that the volume metric has been achieved by the Dog token on a consistent basis, the holder count and the distribution is quite healthy, then the bigger question becomes that to get listed on tier 1 exchanges, is the only way to do that in the current day and age is by paying massive listing fees. Well, one of the tokens that I've been following that is another based community that is over 100,000 holders at this point, very well distributed, is the Vine token. And with the Vine token, as well as we saw with some other tokens before, but specifically recently with the Vine token, I've seen it get listed on crypto.com, on OKX, on Kraken, and on many other exchanges without paying the listing fee. What's happening is market makers such as Wintermute and others are picking up the token and they are subsidizing the listing fees that are needed with exchanges, and in many cases exchanges are lifting up themselves the tokens from the market to go ahead and list that token. This has already happened with the Dog token, by the way, for many exchanges. The ones that are left are some of the major ones, including OKX, Kraken, of course, Binance, Coinbase, crypto.com, so on and so forth. These exchanges are still remaining, among few others, in terms of tier 1 exchanges to list Dog. And in my view, I do think that with what Vine has proven recently, being a token that is, in some cases sub $200 million market cap as of the recording date of this video, the volume, the community, the fair distribution is a good enough reason to list a token. And we've seen it happen, and I think we can champion that cause on the Dog Army side to highlight to these exchanges that, hey, you've listed these other tokens. Dog Army has a passionate army, passionate movement, has a free and fair distributed token. It's a movement that has shown to prove that there's going to be consistent volume behind it, and it's only going to grow when more people have access to this token. So I think that curtain, the 4-minute mile, has been broken by other tokens such as Vine. I don't really count Trump and Melania in that category because it's the president and the first lady's token, so there's obviously a vested interest. But when smaller scale tokens like Vine get listed on tier 1 exchanges without paying listing fee, that is very bullish for me and shows me that it is possible to get tokens listed on tier 1 exchanges without paying massive listing fees, which end up basically resulting in a massive dump on the part of the exchange on the community. So the Dog Army can evangelize our free and fair movement and get listed on tier 1 exchanges in a similar fashion. But now let's talk about the approaches that we can utilize in order to get listed, in order to get the attention of these exchanges, and to give us a better chance of get the listing on these exchanges in the very near future. So let's get into that now. Okay, so what approaches can all of us in the Dog Army use to get the attention of tier 1 exchanges? I'm guilty of this first approach as well in the beginning, where I used to really get frustrated with the tier 1 exchange listing policies. And we know that there is, market manipulation that occurs. We've seen this happen with short positions that get opened up against tokens in order to acquire them. We've also seen the abuse of the rating, the bull and bearish rating on CoinMarketCap. We've seen many other instances where there is market manipulation occurring. And in such situations, the response that we have, I also on my profile made many threads really calling out this corruption. Leonidas himself has done it too. The problem that I started to notice is that all of us, the entire dog army, which is one of the most mentioned token on X, then start berating these exchanges, calling out their behavior. And I had to take a step back and really think about it for a second that, okay, how will this be received? Because there's a part of the organization for these exchanges that of course is dealing with this manipulative behavior based on the data we've seen. But there's also a decision-making factor. So imagine that you're meeting with the executives of OKX or of Kraken or of Binance, and you're presenting the case to list the dog token. And you say, oh, the community is really active, and you pull up a few threads that have been made about why, one of my most viewed threads that starts with the most impressions are the ones where I've commented about dog getting listed on Binance and what it will take to get listed. But if you look into those threads that have hundreds of thousands of views, and almost all of the comments in there, if they're continuously shitting on Binance and talking about how corrupt Binance is and how horrible Binance is, it's going to make it a really, really difficult case for anybody at Binance to say, hey, this is a community that will actually benefit Binance if we onboard their token. That was a wake-up moment for me, and I started to realize that that pattern was being repeated when I would make a thread about OKX or Kraken as well. So I want to change my approach a little bit in terms of how we approach these issues. I'm not saying that we don't call out the manipulation and the issues that we do see in the market, but as far as the mission to get the dog token listed on tier 1 exchanges, I think we can use our movement in a better way. We can showcase the power, the enthusiasm, the passion that the dog army has about the free and fair movement, about sharing Satoshi's mission with the world, about onboarding 1 million plus users to Bitcoin, and to do it through dog. I think if we can highlight that and share positive reinforcement messages about why these exchanges would benefit from listing dog, how not only will they be listing a token, but they will be onboarding an entire community that can then trade within a matter of seconds. One-click trading will be enabled on these centralized exchanges. So showcasing that, I think, is a more productive way to get our message across to these exchanges about the benefit that they will receive when they list dog. It is inevitable and it is undeniable, in fact, the amount of impact and the amount of passion that the dog army have, whether it's a dog army around the world or specifically one of the most active segments are the Brazilian dog army soldiers, right? Each one of you guys that are out there in Brazil and all the other regions, as well as these massive battalions and legions of dog army are forming, they are making the army stronger overall. And our movement and our mission is to spread the free and fair mission. Now we need to pick our battles, right? In this sense, I think our distribution battle is something that we've already won. The distribution is free and fair. Top 5 holders hold less than 6% of the entire supply. That means over 93% of the supply is held by everyone else. And that is a really, really good sign. And even in those top 5 holders, the 3 out of 5 are exchanges that hold that. So that's not a single holder. That's also distributed amongst hundreds, perhaps thousands of holders, if not more. So we've won the distribution battle. We've won the battle of fair supply, of the most, fair mechanism of non-manipulative launch of the token. The token was not sniped at launch because it was airdropped free and fair. At this point, the battle is that can we get listed on exchanges without listing fees? If that is something we're aiming to do, I think that instead of calling out exchanges and getting in a fight with them, it may be encouraging to think of Dog Army as a marketing arm for these exchanges. So look at what the Dog Army can do with our passion, and we co-market Dog and Binance. So kind of like imagine thinking about creating marketing content for the Dog and Binance listing, creating marketing content for the Dog and OKX listing. And to that end, I'm going to share with us a few action items that we can take. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and have positive reinforcing message to get in front of the exchanges and their listing decision makers. But what are action items that we can take right now in order to get their eyes in front of us? So let's talk about those action items next, and then we'll wrap up the video. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, whether you're watching on X or on YouTube, take a moment on YouTube to like and subscribe to my channel, and then turn on the notifications so you can find out when the next video is released. It really helps the algorithm and will help the Dog Army mission as well to get the word out to a lot more users. This is my newer channel. I only have about 1,000 subscribers so far. Thanks to all of you for supporting me, and it really does make a difference. If you're watching on X, bookmarking this video is a huge engagement boost. So make sure you like, repost, and bookmark, as well as take a moment to follow me on X if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate that support. Let's get into this final part, which talks about approaches and the tools and resources that I'm preparing for the dog army in order to share our message with the exchanges. So what can we do? I've prepared a few banners, videos, animations, threads, and tweets, and I'm linking that repository below in this video. On YouTube, it will be in the description section. On X, it will be the first comment that you'll see underneath in this thread post. So what you want to do is take a look at that. Feel free to use it. Do take a moment, if you don't mind, to give credit to my account for creating this, because it does help again with that engagement to get the message out. But each one of us can start making threads, posts, tweets, even making short form videos on TikTok, Instagram, whether you want to make videos on YouTube itself. And you can use this material to push out as many pieces of content, tagging Binance, tagging OKX, tagging Kraken, in order to get their attention, including Coinbase, to list the dog token. And I think this is a better way to utilize our massive engagement army, our massive army that is passionate about the free and fair movement, and to showcase and evangelize our message instead of focusing on sort of getting in a bickering fight with them. I like to consider this the inspiration-based approach versus the Karen-based approach. We don't want to turn into the Karens of X, of crypto, who are always complaining about the reason we're not listed. Instead, we want to be the inspiration of why more free and fair movement tokens should be listed. So with that, you can go ahead and take a look at the link below, where you'll find animated banners, pictures, you'll find tweet threads that I have posted. You can also follow my profile on X, where you can co-tweet other threads. You can comment on those threads if you don't feel like coding them. And you can also take some of this material and make your own threads to amplify your own profile for the dog mission as well. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Again, in summary, we covered that listings are possible. Wine token has shown that. We covered that we want to use a more inspiration-based approach rather than a negative approach. And then I've provided you some tools and resources that you can utilize to make your contribution to our mission as well. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.